And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Also on 405 Media Radio Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. And then we're on the Pundit Press, PNN Talk Radio, and SHR Media Radio with the Conservative Syndicate on Mondays and Fridays from 3:30 to 4 p.m. Pacific Time, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right on my website each day simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com, where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Well, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. On today's special segments, well, it'll be John Matthews, John Hakos, and me. We're going to do a simulcast on the Conservative Syndicate, and David Garrett will be here, and he'll be presenting Garrett on the Law. But right now, I want you to stand by for news. But first, I want you to know that at 3:03 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 66 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? I'm going to give you an encapsulated view of the news. That way we can kind of cover all the things that are important for you to know. And then after that, we'll try and get more in-depth in a few key items so that you'll know more in-depth items that are going on. But right now, it's the 10 things that you need to know for today, Friday. It's your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and probably tomorrow. And first up, why the bloodbath could have been far worse. The husband and wife who killed 14 people at a California social services center had stockpiled thousands of rounds of additional ammunition and 12 pipe bombs before they were actually killed by police. And then the second item on our news is Defense Secretary orders the United States military to open all combat jobs to women. The decision signals a formal recognition that thousands of women served and many were wounded or killed in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. And third item up, who's lining up to battle Islamic State extremists in Syria? Well, as Britain begins airstrikes, Germany's preparing to send troops and aircraft into the region. Our next item up, help is on the way for America's aging highways and bridges. Yep, you heard me right. A 5-year, $305 billion measure moves through Congress, boosts highway and transit spending, and assures states that federal help will be available for major projects. And our next item, Senate okays a bill aimed at crippling Obamacare and Planned Parenthood. After the House's expected approval, the bill will be the first to reach Obama's desk, demolishing his health care law and blocking Planned Parenthood's federal money. Well, you think that that's not going to get vetoed? Yeah. Well, next item up. The U.S. charges 16 more in a FIFA corruption probe. The newest indictment takes down an entire generation of soccer leaders in South America, a bedrock of FIFA and World Cup history. And then, which feature is being tested by Facebook? The tool would enable users to shoot video with their smartphones and allow other people to see it live on the social network. And then Coldplay scores big gig. The British rock band will perform during halftime at the Super Bowl, says a spokesperson for Pepsi, which is sponsoring the show. And internet-ready gizmos undercutting traditional TV watching. More and more people are viewing content on smartphones, tablets, or TV-connected devices like streaming boxes and game consoles, Nielsen data show. And then finally, how organizers of the Rio Olympics are cutting expenses. The 10,500 athletes at next year's games will not have air conditioning in their bedrooms unless someone pays for it. Wow. Isn't it tough enough that now they got to be uncomfortable, right? Well, let's get into a little more in depth. There's no conclusion about the terror ties yet. The latest on the mass shooting at a social service facility in San Bernardino, California, is a U.S. official says the FBI was treating the mass shooting in California as a potential act of terror, but had reached no conclusion that it was. The official was briefed on the investigation, but wasn't authorized to discuss it by name and spoke on condition of anonymity. The official said Saeed Rizwan Farouk communicated with individuals who were under FBI scrutiny in connection with the terrorism investigation. But the official said the contact was with people who were not significant players on our radar, dated back some time, and there was no immediate indication of any surge in communication ahead of the shooting. The official said Farouk and his wife were not on the FBI's radar before the shooting, which killed 14 people. The official said the communication was a potential factor, but cautioned that contact with individuals who are subjects of investigations in and of itself doesn't mean that you are a terrorist. Well, we'll see what time will tell. It's hard for us not to believe that it's not an act of terrorism, besides which I think just by definition it's an act of terrorism. Wouldn't you? Sure. Well, you know, you know what? I'm not going to deal anymore with that. There seems like just one after another. Let's talk about the California shooting doesn't fit a familiar gun debate that's going on as investigators search for a motive behind the deadly rampage in San Bernardino. Politicians are searching for a way to talk about it. The details of the California massacre at a holiday party, pointing at a possible link to Islamic militants and raising questions about domestic extremism, quickly knocked both Republicans and Democrats off their talking points, upending what has become a grim and predictable ritual in American politics. Democrats, who have vowed to use every mass shooting as a moment to call for new gun laws, were tempering their rally cries. Republicans, who point to mental health services as the solution, had begun to blame extremist views. In an interview Friday morning, Florida Senator Marco Rubio said, "We have a violence problem in America," but added it's not exclusive to guns. A U.S. citizen with a clean background but extremist views is perhaps the most significant threat, is what he said. Now, do not go away. When we come back, I'm going to give you some more news. We're going to talk about stories of those who died in the mass shooting in California. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, They're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. You know, there's stories of those who died in the mass shooting in California. Most of the 14 people killed at a holiday banquet in San Bernardino, California, worked in the same county public health department as the man who showed up with his wife and sprayed the hall with gunfire. An official list of the dead was released today, or yesterday actually, and families, friends, and co-workers came forward to share some of their stories. You know, Nicholas Falcinios, he's 52 years old. He identified as a Messianic Jew and passionately defended Israel, actively debating about religion on online forums and in person, his friend said. And only 2 weeks ago, Falcinios of Colton, California, was having a heated on-the-job discussion about the nature of Islam with Saeed Rizwan Farouk, his fellow restaurant inspector and one of the shooters. Felicia's friend, Colleen Stevens, told the Associated Press that she happened to call him while he was working with Farouk and that he brought her into their debate, loudly declaring that Farouk doesn't agree that Islam is not a peaceful religion. She heard Farouk counter that Americans don't understand Islam, and Felicios responded by saying, "I don't know how to talk with him," she said. Felicios' wife, Jennifer, told the Associated Press the two probably did have debates, but I never got the impression it was in a bad way. It was more, just having discussions about religion and faith, she said. She said he believes that her husband died a martyr because of his faith, but he never indicated that Saeed had radicalized. She said she did not believe her husband was individually targeted. They all got along really well, so it's shocking, she said. You know what? It's one story after another, just like that one. Unfortunately, we know what the outcome was. Well, Robert Loggia, movie and TV tough guy, dies at age 85. Robert Loggia, who played drug lords and mobsters and danced with Tom Hanks in Big, has died. His wife, Aubrey Loggia, says. Aubrey Loggia said Loggia died today at his home in Los Angeles after a 5-year battle with Alzheimer's. He was 85 years old. Loggia's rugged looks and voice suited his many character roles as gangsters or other shady characters. He was a Miami drug lord in Scarface and a Sicilian mobster in Prezi's Honor. He earned an Oscar nomination for the 1985 legal thriller Jagged Edge, but perhaps his most memorable role was a comic turn as the toy company boss in Big. In a famous scene, he and Hanks, as a boy in a man's body, dance on a giant toy keyboard in joyful duets of Chopsticks and Heart and Soul. We're going to miss him. He was a great actor. Well, massacre particularly painful for Hard Luck, California City. You know, for a city that's been trying to dig itself out of bankruptcy for 3 years, where public services have been slashed and about a third of its 215,000 residents live in poverty, the massacre at San Bernardino's Inland Regional Center was a particularly painful punch to the gut. The nonprofit institution, with its gleaming campus of modern buildings planted in the heart of the gritty city 60 miles east of Los Angeles, states proudly on its website that it is California's oldest and largest such social services center. It provides help daily to more than 31,000 people, mostly children, afflicted with disabilities such as epilepsy, Down syndrome, and autism. When word raced through town Wednesday that 2 heavily armed people had sprayed one of the center's conference rooms with gunfire, killing 14 people and wounded 21, heartbreak was immediate. I don't know why anybody would come in and shoot there, said a tearful Sherry Esqueria, whose daughter works at the center and escaped unharmed. These are all disabled kids, very disabled. The targets of the husband and wife shooters were not the children, but the man's county health agency co-workers who were holding a holiday gathering at the center. No children were killed or injured, a slightly silver lining to one of the city's darkest days. A day that we're just simply not going to forget, huh? Well, Mexicans search for remains of loved ones in the countryside. The first time the men and women set out to dig for their missing relatives in Iguala, they didn't know how. Leaders of the expedition told them to look for discoloration in the dirt, evidence of recently turned soil. Look for depressions in the ground, they said, that may signal a clandestine grave. They headed for the mountains with picks and shovels and stopped at a field where someone recalled having detected a foul odor. Amid purple and yellow flowers, they dug 10 centimeters, 20, 40. At 60 centimeters, they hit human bone. The grave diggers cried and prayed and kept burrowing into the ground until they had unearthed 6 graves. We knew we were going to look for buried bodies, but we never imagined that was what we would find, said Mario Vergara, whose brother had disappeared 2 years before. What we saw broke us. The expeditions began shortly after 43 students from a rural teachers college were detained by police in Iguala on September 26, 2014, and then vanished. Emboldened by a national uproar over the students and eager to find their own relatives, hundreds of families came out of a sacred silence to report kidnappings for the first time, adding names to a list of 26,000 missing nationwide. About 30 people gathered at the first meeting in the basement of the San Guerrero Church, where each family told a story worse than the next about how their relatives went to work one day and never came home, or how armed men took them from their homes, or how they were last seen at police roadblocks and then never heard from again. You know, how sad can that be? Well, that's enough of the news. Don't go away. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the IRS losers. The first case is a missed audit deadline, and we're going to tell you all about that. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And you know what? Let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it. The first case up, missed an audit deadline. Here's the case. A company declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy but continued operating. Now, it then filed a later year return making a Section 505B request under the bankruptcy code. Now, this required the IRS to select the return for an audit within 60 days or accept it as accurate. Instead, after the 60 days had passed, the IRS said that $7 million more was due on it. This is the IRS's position. The 505B request was invalid because published IRS rules required it to be sent to the IRS district director, not to be filed with the return. So they went to court. This is what the judge said. The IRS argument was absurd, as it had earlier abolished the position of district director. Thus, filing the request with the return was the correct action, and the tax is lifted. Now, you heard me say how much, right? $7 million. Big deal. Well, here's a case where the IRS conceded, and you've heard me say it before. They only concede when they're pretty sure they can't prevail in court. Here's this case. Bank deposits need not be reported as cash payments. So let me get into it a little bit. Businesses are required to report all cash payments larger than $10,000 to the IRS on Form 8300. That's the report of cash payments over $10,000 received in a trade or business. Now, here's a recent case. A car dealer sold cars using independent contractor salespeople. Now, after a sale was made, the salespeople would deposit the sales proceeds in the dealer's bank account. The IRS legal opinion was this: the receipt of a bank deposit is not a receipt of cash, since the dealer never literally received cash in hand. The reporting requirement didn't apply. Sometimes, you know what? It's just common sense. That's the way it is. Let me give you one more of these things. The IRS loses. They cannot sue to collect tax that's already subject to a refund suit. Sounds odd and sounds redundant, doesn't it? Well, here's the case. A company failed to remit payroll taxes, and the IRS imposed personal liability for these taxes on its owners. They paid a portion of the tax, then properly sued for a refund, contesting their liability, filing their suit in Kentucky, where they actually lived. The IRS then filed a separate suit in Louisiana, where the company operated, to enforce the collection of the assessed tax. The owners protested, went to court. This is what the judge said. When a tax liability is being contested in a refund suit in one court, the IRS cannot file a collection action for the same tax in another court. The Louisiana suit is dismissed, as it should be, right? Just like I said, just common sense. Well, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. That's where we're at right now when we're at this section we call Inside the IRS. Okay, so these are not tax court cases, but these are precedents that have been set out that you can actually use the information to your benefit. This first one is watch your back when the IRS tells you that it's got a good deal for you. Yeah, you can hear me chuckling, right? Well, the good deal comes in the form of a letter that advises you to accept the terms of a global settlement that the IRS is offering the taxpayers who are involved in a common issue. Now, let me give you an example. Thousands of taxpayers were found to have maintained offshore bank accounts. Now, we've talked about this before. They reported neither the money deposited into the accounts nor the interest earned on them. The IRS offered many of those taxpayers a last chance to avoid huge penalties if they disclose their wrongdoing. Now, the strategy is, if the IRS tries to entice you into a global settlement, speak to a knowledgeable tax attorney who understands the IRS's limitations before deciding whether to accept. It is important to find out exactly what facts and evidence are in the possession of the IRS to determine whether it can prove its case against you before you just fold up all your cards and go wimping away, right? Yeah. Well, here's an IRS audit trap for you. Suppose that in the course of an audit, an agent asks a question and you don't understand why it's being asked. What do? You ask the agent why he or she wants to know. Don't answer any such question until you receive an understandable and acceptable answer from the agent. Let me give you an example of that. Let's just say the agent asks where you went on vacation last year. Why would he or she want to know such a thing? He's probably trying to ascertain your standard of living and how the amount of income that you reported on your tax return jibes with your confessed lifestyle. Be careful about offering an answer that may be incriminating. Consult with your lawyer first. Matter of fact, in cases like this, you don't want to deal directly with the IRS. You want to make sure you're always dealing with a licensed representative and an attorney. I'll give you one last one. Negotiating an installment agreement. You know what? It's not uncommon for certain taxpayers earning six-figure salaries to owe the IRS more money than they will ever be able to repay. Common causes: personal liability for unpaid payroll taxes of a business, years of not filing income tax returns, not paying the tax reflected on tax returns that were actually already filed. Now, when taxpayers enter negotiations to pay their tax debt in installments, the IRS will generally allow them living expenses in excess of official guidelines, which are very modest, by the way, for a period of 1 year. Now, taxpayers should use this year to cut back on all but the most essential expenses. They should cut out lavish expenditures for such things as vacations, clothing, country club dues, and concentrate on making sure that college tuition and mortgage payments are paid, maybe even prepaid. The reason for this? After that 1 year period expires, the IRS is going to expect that most of what a taxpayer earns after the current year's income taxes have been paid goes back to the IRS to take care of these obligations. That's how these things are done. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to be talking to John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and me. We're doing a simulcast on the Conservative Syndicate. We do that every Monday and Friday, so we're looking forward to that. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know, we're at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 63 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? I want to fill up a little bit of time here. In a couple of minutes, we're going to be doing a simulcast with John Matthews and Joe Hakos. We do that every Monday and Friday from 3:35 to 4 o'clock, and it's really terrific. We get to talk about on Mondays whatever I want to talk about, and on Fridays whatever John and Joe want to talk about, and that's really a really cool deal to do. Now, first of all, I'd like to right now, while we're waiting for them, I want to tell you to beware of fake calls and emails from the IRS this filing season. The IRS warns that scams invoking its name and targeting individuals, businesses, and tax-exempt organizations are multiplying and are expected to continue through the tax filing season. The scams take the form of phone calls and emails that try to trick recipients into revealing confidential information such as bank account or social security numbers that can be used to commit theft. So the alert is there. The IRS never asks for information through unsolicited contacts in this manner. So just kind of keep that in mind as this is moving on. Now, I know that our guys are going to call in just any moment. Oh, there they are. And here we are with John Matthews and Joe Hakos and the Conservative Syndicate.
How you doing there, Bob?
Hey, I'm doing good, guys. How you doing?
Oh, we're doing great. Actually, Joe's off today.
Oh, Joe
had the day off today.
You gave him the day off?
Well, the man has earned his stripes, I'll tell you.
Yes, he has. He's a tremendous asset to your show.
Well, he covered for me last week with the situation with Lourdes, and then he's just done a bang up job at taking over the show whenever I need him to. And he's got an event, a work related thing tonight. So he just said, "Yeah, go ahead and do your thing, man. We'll take it. We'll take it from there."
Well, good for him. I hope he enjoys. If the event is a holiday event, I hope he enjoys it.
Yeah. So, one of the things that happened here during the week, of course, is the shooting out of San Bernardino.
Well, that's only 13 miles from my home.
Oh, I was guessing 20. I guessed 20. We actually, we had a first here on the show here. We went on the air Wednesday just as everything was unfolding. Mm-hmm. And so we covered the whole thing live.
Oh, wow.
And it was really interesting because all of our affiliate stations, there's 8 of them now. Mm-hmm. I think 9 now. We have 9 now. They all directed their streams to our station.
Oh, wow. How fantastic is that, John?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. But boy, I'll tell you, this is the first time, as you're just going along, and then you have to fill in the holes. You're waiting for information, and you have to fill in the holes in the meantime. So it was different. But I was pointing out the geographical location of myself and you, mm-hmm. and the demographics involved with that area up there, and how San Bernardino has basically went from nothing to a big place, and now it's back going towards nothing again after the housing crash and stuff.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the city of San Bernardino is in its 3rd year of bankruptcy protection. They're having some real tough times out there, and of course, this tragedy isn't going to do anything to help it.
No, not at all. So, what I wanted to talk to you about today in regard to that, as we were doing our coverage on Wednesday. And there were, the first thing we noticed about it was did not fit the average pattern of what we've seen in shootings. As soon as we heard there were multiple shooters and that they were dressed in military attire or tactical attire, it just, in my mind, is set up. My first impression was, and I was thinking, oh my God, we're dealing with some kind of extremist paramilitary operation. Some guys out there have decided that they're going to take down the government or something like that. Mm-hmm. And as it evolved, there were some things that didn't hit me right. And as I started looking and thinking it over, as we're hearing different reports from different places, and by the time we got off the air, I had more questions than I had answers as to what was taking place out there. Now, a lot of the information has surfaced since then, but one of the first things that triggered my curiosity, and I wanted to get your take on this, and correct me if I'm wrong, I guess I'm looking for either confirmation or correction here, was how quick the FBI was involved in this. That is really out of the norm that the FBI would be the initial response people to something like this.
Well, you're right. They were very, very quick, but we have to remember that, even though Obama had said that ISIS was not going to be coming to this country, they're not coming because they're already here, number one. Number two, the FBI is following a lot of internal cells here for ISIS and people like that. These particular people were not those being followed, but there were some people they were in contact with that excuse me. the FBI was kind of following. But the first responder actually was the police from the city of San Bernardino, and the second responders were the sheriffs from San Bernardino County. The FBI really came in subsequent to that, so they weren't really in the first responders. But one of the things that, getting aside from the politics of the whole thing, I was astounded at how quickly. I mean, they had an army on site within 4 minutes of this thing taking place, and within just a few hours, had these people taken down. But there were some inequities, John, that I didn't understand. I mean, here we are. It's a man and a wife. They have a 6-month-old child. They take the 6-month-old child to grandma, or to his grandmother, and say they're going to go to the doctor, right? And they get all dressed in their uniforms or whatever they're getting into. They get all their loaded information. They do all that stuff. They go down and perpetrate this horrible, tragic event, and then they leave. They actually do escape, but they stay within 2 miles of this thing. In 2 hours, it took 2 hours for the police to finally locate him. In 2 hours, John, I'd have been in Mexico.
Yeah, I would have definitely been heading south. I was thinking, like, we were making some comparisons because this was up in the Big Bear area. Mm-hmm. Down at the bottom of the mountain. And remember last year, I think it was, where they had that one sheriff.
Yeah.
Shot the sheriffs and then took off, and they ended up chasing them down in Big Bear. You would think the idea is, well, we've done our thing, let's get out of here, kind of stuff. Yeah. And hang around. It's really kind of weird, that. But what I mean by the FBI getting involved in this thing so fast. Mm-hmm. Is that normally there is some type of preliminary investigation by the local forces, the first responders, the police and the sheriffs in this case, get out there and they make an assessment of things. And, the event is the area is secure. The event it comes to a conclusion. And then somebody in the preliminary process says, hey, this looks like something more than what we're, in our jurisdiction. So let's get the FBI in here. The fact that the FBI was involved in it so quick. Now I'm hearing stuff out there about the fact that the wife was actually somebody who had already pledged her allegiance to ISIS.
Yes, a matter of fact, she had done that on a social network, by the way, under a fictitious name, but that it did get tagged back to her. But she did pledge her allegiance to ISIS.
Yeah, and then of course on our side of it, this gentleman is supposed to have been, kind of a homegrown radical. He was born and raised here, mm-hmm. Goes and meets this woman who's lived in Saudi Arabia for 20 years or whatever, comes back, and he's like radicalized into this terrorist type person. And the fact that there were bombs found and all this other stuff. And I was hearing yesterday reports that the man had actually been identified by the FBI as what they call a soft target.
Yes.
He was somebody who had connections. And what I'm getting to is I'm wondering if, as this thing unfolds and as more things come to light, we're going to find that the FBI actually had this guy under some type of surveillance, and maybe they didn't do anything because they thought he might lead them to somebody bigger.
Well, you know what? And I think that you make a really valid point there, because if you think about what's going on, let's just think about them for a minute. I mean, it just seems so unbelievable to me that if they were going to make an attack, they would make it an attack on a building like that, or a institution like that. But even taking that into mind, if you think about the 4,000 plus shells or ammunition that they had, and you think about the weapons they had, and you think about they had 12 bombs at home and 3 bombs, so they had about 15 pipe bombs plus many more that they could be making. They were looking for a much larger event than just this one thing. And I'm not so sure that this really was going to be the primary target. I just think that this was a spur of the moment. They decided, okay, let's just go do it and go do it here. They got all these people. We can do our thing. We'll get out of there. And I really think they were headed back to rearm themselves, get everything, and go for another location.
Well, that could be. We were also hearing one of the victims, one of the people that were shot, was a Jew, a Zionist Jew,
yes.
Orthodox Jew.
Yeah.
apparently had made some kind of comment that they think may have set this whole thing off. And it was like, this was not the original intent, but something happened and he said, okay, let's do it now.
Yeah, because this was a guy that apparently, the one you're talking about, the Jewish fella, him and this, I can't think of his last name now, Fakun or whatever his name is, they apparently had religious debates on and off between the Jewish religion and the Muslim religion, and they had this ongoing debate going on. So who's to know that somebody didn't trigger something that really wasn't the chosen location? But no question in my mind. I mean, it's pretty hard, even just by definition, John. This is terrorism. I don't care. Who gets tagged with it? I don't really care. This is terrorism. It's domestic terrorism, and I can't hardly believe that it's not ISIS.
Yeah, and I want to throw one other thing at you that really is an indicator to me that this is it is terrorism, and we're going to talk about that when we come back. We got to go to break here. We're talking with Bob Cardoza.
And we'll be right back after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga.
As I said, the FBI being involved in this so early on was just something didn't set right in my mind. And now I'm beginning to hear things, and we're seeing things out there that indicate that there was at least some level of knowledge by the FBI of the existence of this couple, maybe not seen as a real threat or whatever, what they call a soft target, somebody that might lead them to somebody else.
Well, John, I got to tell you, and I'm not espousing this belief, but it's something that I heard yesterday. Somebody called in, and they were talking about that they had heard that there was perhaps some kind of a government conspiracy going on here, in that the government was wanting to cause a real big deal in order to try and push gun control through. Now, I'm not espousing that, and I certainly would never support it, and I'd choose not to believe it. But I actually had somebody call me yesterday and present that argument.
Yeah, well, that was, I said, my very first response was kind of like, okay, we've got some kind of right-wing extremist paramilitary thing out there going on. Yeah. And it was just because of the initial descriptions we were getting. A group of people versus a single shooter, tactical gear, high power assault weapons and all this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we got somebody doing maybe something like that. Let's trying to create a situation where we now have, government intervention and let's have a government showdown, that kind of thing. That didn't work out that way. But I'll tell you what another thing that has triggered my curiosity on this thing is the idea that initially within a day, within 24 hours, the family of the male, the shooter, has as a spokesperson a member of CARE, the Islamic organization, the Islamic activist organization, which has ties, proven documented ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. And these people are out speaking on behalf of the family. Now, when the news media talks to the family, they're just sitting there going, boy, we didn't know this was going on. This is surprising to us, blah, blah, blah. It's like they're just playing like, geez.
Well, but John, here's the thing. The mother-in-law, and as it turns out, not only was the husband and the wife in that home where they're building all these bombs and things, but it turns out the mother-in-law lived there as well. And there's other people that have been around there all the time. Now, explain to me, if these people if this is where their residence is, and they've got like a bomb-making factory and all this stuff going on, are you going to tell me that their family that visits is not seeing this stuff?
Yeah, well, see, this feeds into the bigger narrative. And this is when we talk about all the fear that's being generated and all the distrust and all the other things that are going on. The left is telling us, hey, we can't profile people. We were hearing reports now that the neighbors saw something going on, but for fear of being called racist, never said anything. And then now they're sitting there like, well, gee, I wish I would have said something. But this whole narrative that we don't call things as they are, and we don't say things when we should, and all this. Now, just as you're saying here, a lot of the people in the Muslim community will sit there and say, well, geez, this doesn't represent Islam. This isn't what it's about. And that may be true. I don't know at this point. But when you've got somebody out there like the Council on American Islamic Relations, which is a well-documented, well-known, Islamic activist organization with direct ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, and they're stepping up like Jesse Jackson would in Detroit or something like that, and representing his family. I cannot buy into the fact that the family is just sitting there like we had no idea what was going on. As you said, the mother was living with him. She had to know something was going on.
Yeah. And are you going to tell me that the rest of the family never visited?
Yeah. So this whole concept of just, hey, let's just play innocent. Let's just play. We don't know. And then it's being backed up and reinforced by people like Obama and Loretta Lynch, who's out. Well, let's not rush to judgment. They had no problem rushing to judgment within the first few hours, where everybody thought this was some crazy white Christian.
Well, I'll tell you one thing they accomplished. I'm not letting my wife go to the mall without me, and really keeping my eyes open. What they've accomplished is making me fearful, because this has happened now 13 miles from my home. It could happen right. I only live about 3 miles from Victoria Gardens, a magnificent shopping experience. You know what? Why on earth wouldn't they go there and just mow down thousands of people?
Yeah. I live just
by the Cerritos Mall.
I live 2 miles away from one of our. Contrary to what people think, LA County is still pretty segregated. We have our little, I live in a mix of Hispanic, white, and black. We're all kind of mixed here. Mm-hmm. But if you go just 2 miles south of us, you would think you were in Korea. If you go just a little bit farther than that, you would think you were in India.
Yeah.
The entire neighborhood and the stores and everything reflect the culture that lives there. And I'm thinking, geez, I could be driving down and going to McDonald's, which I got to pass through Little India to get to, and then all of a sudden somebody sets off a bomb somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this is scary now. And I try very hard not to bash Obama, but it's very difficult. And when he makes a comment about ISIS is not coming to America, he's saying that because they're already here. And the problem is that I'm scared to death, and a lot of people, whether they admit it or not, people are scared to death. You don't know where to go, how to go, or what's safe anymore.
Well, one of the things that just came to light today, just based on what you just said, today in the House or in the Senate, I believe it was, in the Senate, they voted down a gun control bill that would not, the Republicans voted it down. The Republican majority voted down this gun control bill that would make it more difficult for terrorists to buy firearms.
Yeah, where is the sense in that, right? It's the same thing with the no-fly list. You know what? I don't care what anybody says. If you don't want these guys to get on an airplane, you sure as hell don't want them to have a gun either.
Well, I mean, the question is, if Obama's telling us that we don't have a terrorist problem in the United States, why are they trying to pass gun laws that would keep terrorists from buying? You mean if terrorists are buying weapons here in the United States, that means they're here?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you know what? I can't, I don't have any statistics to prove this, John, but I would venture a thought that probably the one country that is the easiest to obtain weapons is probably in the United States.
Well, that's because of our Second Amendment.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of the ease or anything else. But if you look at the other thing that we've noticed about this was that all these mass shootings are done in gun-free zones. In places where guns are not allowed, where the guards are not allowed to carry arms or anything else. And so, that's why they're picked.
Yeah.
Now, this difference is the fact that this guy worked there, the shooter did work there, but it's just like, well, yeah, why don't you put up a sign that just says this is a gun-free zone? All people carrying guns don't come in here.
John, I can give you the perfect example. I know we're getting short on time, but my wife and I, not too long ago, were visiting Israel, and we were in Egypt and Israel and a number of different countries. And I had this guy that said, "Hey, you've got to go to the Holy Land. You've got to go to the Holy Land." I finally went. I came back. They asked what my response was, and I said, "You know what? I was scared to death." And he said, "Well, why? Why it was the Holy Land?" I said, "Because my wife and I were with a group of people. We were the only people in that whole country that weren't carrying weapons. Now, if somebody's going to get shot, who do you think they're going to shoot at?"
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, we are out of time, my friend. I want to give you a minute to plug your show.
Well, you know what? And yours too. John and I are together every Monday and Friday from 3:30 to 4 o'clock. And you can catch my show every Monday through Friday from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock Pacific time. Just go to my website at robertcardozalive.com and listen to me. And you can listen to John and me twice a week. John, thanks so much for having me on the show.
All right. You have a good weekend. God bless.
You too. God bless you too. And you know what? We'll be right back with David Garrett on the law right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, we've had some kind of a foul up here. Our own David Garrett doesn't seem to be able to get through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of fill in for him a little bit. Let's talk about tax news and things that you need to know. Let's try and get you some good stuff since it's at the end of the year. You know what you need to know about rebate checks. You ever think about that? Well, you know, starting last May, most taxpayers will start receiving rebate checks of $600, $1,200 for joint filers, plus $300 for every child under 17 years of age. Now, those with adjusted gross incomes of over $75,000, $150,000 for joint filers, will have their checks cut by 5% for each $1 over the threshold. Now, no checks will be issued once the AGI exceeds $87,000. $174,000 for joint returns. Although the rebate is based on your previous year's taxes, the AGI, in reality, it's intended as a credit toward next year's taxes. So, what else do you need to know? Well, the rebate checks are tax-free. For example, if you have 3 eligible children, the $900 you receive because of them is going to be tax-free to you. And excess rebates do not have to be repaid. If you find that when you complete your current income tax return, you aren't eligible for the rebate that you received based on your actual adjusted gross income, you do not have to adjust your next year's taxes to repay that amount. And there's a rebate credit for those who did not receive a check. If when you file your current returns, you are entitled to a rebate that you didn't receive, for example, because you changed your marital status or are no longer over the AGI threshold, you'll be able to get credit for it on your following year's return. Now, there is a rebate return for non-filers, a special version of the Form 1040A. Those who are not otherwise required to file a return, seniors with earnings below $3,000 who receive at least $3,000 of Social Security benefits, veterans with earnings below $3,000 who receive at least $3,000 in disability benefits, and low-income earners and earnings of at least $3,000 who do not pay income taxes will need to file a special return to get their rebate checks of $300, $600 if it's a joint return. Now, that's kind of there. Now, you heard me talk about the beware of the fake emails and the IRS calls. Well, we're not going to talk about that again. We've already pretty much kind of covered that, and hopefully we'll be in pretty good shape when we go there. But what I am going to talk to you about a little bit is I want to talk to you about cash in your losses to save on taxes, especially in this volatile stock market. Here's the thing. Stocks are down sharply since reaching record highs on and off throughout the year. You may now hold stocks and stock funds that are trading less than the price for which you actually bought them. So here's a strategy for you. Harvest capital losses in your taxable investment accounts. You'll lock in immediate tax savings and position yourself for greater long-term after-tax returns. Now, the ground rule rules, net capital losses up to $3,000 may be deducted against ordinary income each year. Now, losses that can't be deducted may be carried forward indefinitely to offset gains in future years. Now, how most people do it? Most people think of tax loss harvesting as something that you do at the end of the year. Now, remember, we are at the end of the year. Now, Tom Williams tallies his 2015 trades for the year to date in early December, which is where we're at now. Now, he realizes that he has net long-term gains of $10,000 for the year. If he takes no further action, Williams is going to owe $1,500 on these transactions at a 15% rate for long-term capital gains, as high as 35% for short-term capital gains when he files his tax return for next year in April. So instead, if Williams sells enough shares of his bank stock to realize a $13,000 capital loss, he immediately reinvests the proceeds in other bank stock, which he expects to perform about the same as the stock that he sold. It is important that he does not repurchase the same stock otherwise. Now, the wash sale rule would be triggered and disallow the recognition of the $13,000 capital loss. The result? Williams' $10,000 net realized gain has been converted to a $3,000 net capital loss for the calendar year 2015, with no major change to his overall investment posture. Now, instead of owing $1,500 to the IRS, he'll have a $3,000. Oh, there we go. Now, I have a feeling that we have David Garrett here on the line. David, are you there?
I am. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing good. Did you forget me?
No, I had somebody here that was a client here, and I tried to get out of there as fast as I could.
You should have put him on the radio. We could have.
That would have been interesting.
We could have solved that entire issue right on the air.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad for the guy. He's had 5 surgeries.
Oh my goodness.
His back is all sorts of problems for him, but we'll get it taken care of here.
Yeah, that sounds really sad.
Yeah. So how you doing?
I am doing quite well, thank you very much. And listen, how was your Thanksgiving? I haven't had a chance to talk to you.
Oh, I had a good Thanksgiving. I went up to northern Idaho, and I went outside, and it was somewhere in the teens virtually all day long, getting a little bit lower at night, and I learned all about ice and snow and all sorts of good stuff.
Well, ice and snow is something, you don't want to learn about. Here's the thing. I remember when I was traveling a great deal, and, it would be short sleeve weather here in California. But when I get on the plane, I'd be wearing, I'd have my muffler, and I'd have my overcoat, and I'd have my gloves and all that stuff. And people in the airport, as you're going to the gate, look at you a little strange, right? But they don't realize you're going from sunny Southern California to ice storms and snowstorms and below zero temperatures.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And have you noticed how once you get back here, after having been in that cold weather, we may be in the, around 60, give or take a little bit, and everybody down here is running around in their coats and all froze up, and you're walking out there in your short-sleeved shirt trying to know what's going on here.
You know what? That's true. I remember the first time that I ever went to Chicago, and it was during the winter, and I thought it was god-awful cold, and I was just all bundled up, and you're right. There were guys just walking around in their suit jackets and nothing special, and I'm thinking, what the heck? These guys must have alcohol in their veins or something, because I was freezing to death. And then I remember one time I actually woke up in Chicago. I traveled a great deal, and this was before they had these automated wake-up calls and things. So you'd actually leave a wake-up call with the front desk, and a live person would call you in the morning, right? And so I got this phone call that says, "Good morning, Mr. Cardoza. It is 17 degrees outside." And I said, "First of all, I thought you said it was a good morning, and where in the hell am I?" So hey, listen, I'm sure you got something to talk about, but I'd love to get your take on. I want to tell you about this thing. I want to tell you about this thing. My take on the deal in San Bernardino. This is going to sound strange, but there is a lot of pride bubbling up in me in the way our law enforcement reacted and responded so very quickly to this entire thing. I mean, first of all, the San Bernardino Police Department. I mean, right there, and you talk about heroes running into that thing, not knowing what they're going to expect, and then the San Bernardino County Sheriff coming right behind him. And then all of these surrounding communities sending in support right behind them. We had an army in there in just minutes, and then this is the first time I've ever seen the FBI respond to something so quickly.
Yeah. No, I was very impressed by that. I got a call from a sister-in-law asking me, "Hey, are we okay?" Because she's one of those people, that watches. Had the TV on at that time of day. Mm-hmm. I get a call. I was able to flip the tube on here, and I watched that, and it was very impressive.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was. You know what? And boy, you talk about cool heads prevailing. There's a reason. I used to always say, and I still do, that police officers, they're just a special kind of a breed. They've got a personality trait that is necessary for the job that they do. I don't know how they could keep such a cool head, especially now when you hear about, you have 14 dead and 21 injured, and you're walking in there and you have to ignore them because you got to get rid of the cause, right? How difficult that, and then all of a sudden you find out that the fire alarm's on, the sprinkler heads are going, water's flashing all over the place, people are screaming all over the place. Can you imagine the guy that's looking for a terrorist, and he's got a handgun? He doesn't know what the heck he's facing. He hasn't got any kind of assault weapon with him, or didn't. The first guy didn't. That's a hero before he even earns the title.
Oh, you bet. I agree with you 100% on that. I'll tell you the thing I liked the best out of the entire coverage of this whole event was when they had that lieutenant that actually was there explaining what he was going through.
Yeah. He was the first guy on the site.
Yeah.
He was the first guy on the site. It was just amazing. I mean, you listen to a lot of these pundits and a lot of these things going on. One of the things that I was so aware of, you think about technology and the things that are going on today, and that thing broke out, and we had news helicopters up there and these telephoto lens cameras and all these things, and the news people couldn't even tell us what we were seeing because they didn't know the events we were watching were coming in before the news was actually reported.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Yeah.
It was, God bless those people and the families that went through that. But, I thought this was handled pretty professionally all the way through.
Yeah, I thought it was an example for not only the rest of the United States, but for the world. I just thought, man, and you know what? I got to tell you, you talk about stupid terrorists, and I'm just gonna say what I'm thinking. Here we are, a man and a woman. First of all, I don't think this was their primary site. I just think somebody got ticked off and said, "Okay, let's just start it here." They have 4,000 rounds of ammunition and weapons, and they've got 15 pipe bombs, 3 of them that they took to this particular unit, and they got all this stuff going on, and they go in and they do all of this tragic damage and things going on. They actually escape, and they don't go any farther away than 2 miles. They went to Redlands, 13 miles away. Then they came back 2 miles away. I want to tell you, and the police didn't catch up to them for about 2 hours, 2 or 4 hours. Yeah. It was 2 hours. I want to tell you, in 2 hours, I'd have been in Mexico.
Oh yeah.
The only thing I can think of, David, is they went back to where all the pipe bombs were and all the ammunition was, and they were restocking themselves, ready to hit venue number 2.
Yeah, and I think you're 100% right there. I'll tell you the thing I've been waiting for is, you know how they were talking about having the GoPro cameras on?
Yeah.
I've been speculating and waiting to see the GoPro videos released, or at least somebody telling me. I wouldn't go watch them, but telling me that that they uploaded those to some crazy terrorist site. Yeah. And then turned around, well, let's go do it again.
Yeah. You know what? It's just, for me, it's scary. You know, I live, 2.5 miles from Victoria Gardens, which is for those people listening, we've got people listening all over the world, but that's a major shopping center out this way, and thousands of people are there every day, especially during the holidays like now. And I got to tell you, I'm not anxious to go walking around Victoria Gardens or any shopping mall right now because the president and the government says ISIS is not coming to the United States. The reason they're not coming is because they're already here.
Yeah. You know, you kind of got into just touching on a discussion that I had with some. I've got some young kids here that work at here at the office, and we were getting a little bit into politics here the other day, and I went and asked the people. I said, in your opinion, what is the most important responsibility the government has? And I would get comments like, well, you know, they got to balance the budget, or they got to do this, or they got to do these other, you know, health care, you know, who cares?
How about protect the people?
Yeah. And that's what I asked them. I says, don't you think the most important thing in government is to keep its citizens safe?
Yeah. That's got to be priority one, David.
Yeah. And then me being the cynic I am, I said, look, here's what's going on. We've got these terrorists out there doing this stuff, but instead of talking about keeping the society safe, we're talking about, and I'm going to blast every party out there right now.
Oh yeah, listen, I you know what? I am an equal blaster. I think I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, an Independent, a Purple People Eater. You know, you're not doing your job if you're just playing politics.
Yeah. You turn on the news. What do we got? I got Obama going someplace to talk about greenhouse gas and the Earth getting too hot. And then that's quickly followed up with somebody talking about Hillary Clinton's email again. Yeah. you know, and you just want to ask these guys, what in the heck are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, going back to San Bernardino, I mean, San Bernardino is a struggling city. They've been in bankruptcy for the last 3 years, bankruptcy protection. And in spite of all of that, when you think about the way they turned around to protect their citizens in their city, man, I got to tell you, they got to be pretty doggone proud.
Oh, you bet. I thought they just did a great job over there. I mean, when you really look at it, they had this whole thing pretty much unwound within 2 hours of it happening.
Yeah, and going back to your comment about what is the primary scope of government, it's to protect its citizens. That's precisely what the San Bernardino Police Department did, and then the Sheriff's Department behind them. I mean, and then, you know what, I was just... to have all of these surrounding cities sending in their law enforcement guys for support. I mean, within minutes we had an army of law enforcement out there, and they had vehicles like I didn't even know they had some of these assault vehicles.
Yeah, do you see that thing that looked like it was a mini, what do they call it, earth mover with the little shield thing on front there in the door?
I didn't even know something like that existed. Anyway, David, we got to go on a short break. When we come back, we'll talk some more, okay? Okay, we'll be right back with our own David Garrett on the law. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:22 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 63 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, we're talking to our own David Garrett on the law. We've been talking about the tragedy in San Bernardino. But, David, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about, or you want to comment some more on San Bernardino?
Well, I brought one case up I've run into here that I thought was kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. If I use the term internet troll, does that mean anything to you?
Internet troll?
Yeah.
Because I'm an old guy, probably not. If you said internet trollop, I'd probably think something different of it.
There you go. Well, this little article brought to my mind what a troll is, and apparently what these trolls are is they get on these message boards, or in this case it was a website of a newspaper, and they go in there and they'll post very controversial, defamatory, or something to that they feel is going to generate excitement from other users.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, to that extent, I guess that's where the troll comes from, trolling the internet.
Yeah, they're trolling, yeah. They're bottom feeders.
Yeah, exactly. So there's this guy named Bill Hadley that's in Freeport, Illinois, and he's running for for public office back there. And there's a poster by the name of FU Boy.
Oh, wait a minute. Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he starts posting comments in the local newspaper's website, likening Hadley to a convicted pedophile, or likening him to convicted pedophile and football coach Jerry Sandusky. He also mentions how nice the view must be from Hadley's home as he's overlooking one of the local elementary schools.
Wow.
So, you know, he's just really doing what he can.
But isn't that defamatory? I mean, isn't that something that can be, the cyber groups can find out who it was?
Well, they can, and it's, you know, clearly defamatory. Even though the guy is a public figure, and, you know, there's different standards for defamation between public figures and non-public figures, and we probably ought to go through that someday because it's kind of interesting area of the law.
Yeah.
But in this case, Hadley files his suit for defamation because he doesn't know who FU Boy is. He has to file a complaint against FU Boy. And this is where the saga kind of starts. So he gets his complaint filed, and now they're going to try and find out who really is FU Boy. Yeah. And in about a year, they finally find out that the IP address that's related to the guy making these postings is from a Comcast account. They then start going back and forth to the appellate court trying to get Comcast to disclose the identity of where this IP address points to so they can get the name of the individual. This little adventure costs a total of $35,000.
Holy cow.
In attorney fees just to get to the point of where they can identify the guy. And when they finally get a hold of it, they find out that FU Boy turns out to be a guy by the name of Frank Cole, a state attorney for Stevenson County. He's in the same county where Hadley was running for office. The two men knew one another and even served on the same county board for 6 years.
Oh, geez.
Cook ends up resigning from his public office, you know, and but still says, hey, I'm innocent. I didn't do any of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And now the case is going to trial on there.
Wow.
Wow. The thing I found relatively fascinating was the extent of money you have to spend to be able to identify who is defaming you if it's based on internet postings.
You know, that is crazy.
Yeah,
and not only the money, but why on earth would it take so long?
You know, it's that argument about.
I'll bet a hacker could have had it in about an hour.
Oh yeah. You want to do it the illegal way? Just hire a hacker. He'll go out and do something, pick the guy up, and you'll know the IP address and probably the address, like you say, within an hour. You
know what? Give a hacker $500 and call Guido and give him $500, and the problem's over.
That would solve it.
and you'd save $37,500.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, how crazy is that? You know what?
Yeah.
I just, you know what? I love technology. I love the things that are going on. But I've got to tell you, I was raised in a much nicer world.
Yeah, exactly.
Just sad.
I've been involved in and defended a few defamation suits, and most of them were, just innocent things. In fact, one time I had a case where, let's see, what was it? It was an article about, pharmaceutical prescribed substance abuse.
Mm.
And they led off with a picture, and the picture had a pill bottle in it, with the little pills laying out on the desk. And the mistake the photographer made was when he took the picture, it left the prescribing doctor's name there.
I thought you were going to tell me the patient's name.
No, he got that covered, and if you had turned the pill bottle just a little bit more, it would have never had the prescribing doctor's name there. So, the doctor, rightfully so, was probably upset that,
sure.
Well, is he implying that I'm the one that's doing this over prescribing?
Well, that's what the indication is.
Yeah. But we sure didn't have to search the internet down to and pay $35,000 to go find out who did what here. It was names all over the place.
And just out of curiosity, I mean, don't a lot of these things happen, David, in all innocence? They didn't really mean for them to happen. They thought they were covering everything the right way. In a case like this pill bottle, just an oversight. He didn't really mean to defame this doctor.
Yeah, and it, and then in this particular case, a retraction was published, and
after the damage is done.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can't close the barn door after the pitcher's released or after the horse left, for lack of a better word. But the retraction handled it and would cut off the extent of the damage. But it was just really a kind of an innocent thing that happens. There's other cases that where the defamation, they truly intend to go out and defame somebody. And
well, in your experience, how many people actually go out to defame public personalities because they can get away with it? I think there's probably a lot of that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that goes on.
I mean, isn't that what these tabloid newspapers and things do? They're just trying to get circulation. They're trying to get people to buy their magazines and their stuff. And so they go out and they put these headlines on about all these movie stars and these artists and things like that, none of which is true. But because these people are public figures, they're food for fodder here.
Right. Yeah, and it... I think a lot of that happens, an awful lot of that. And in the internet now, this case is a pretty good example of this FU boy, whoever he was. Now we know, Frank Cook.
Yeah.
He truly went out there to defame this guy.
Yeah, that was his intent.
Yeah, he showed, you can show actual malice and your cause of action will prevail. The sad part is a lot of these people hide behind, whatever goofy name they make up on the internet and think they're going to get away with it.
Yeah.
It's just a sad state of affairs there, and
what? And how much of that was because of the jealousy of one attorney over the other?
Probably a lot of it.
Yeah.
That was probably the motivation. There's another site that I've run into out on the internet. It's one of these sites where you post if you've been scammed by somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So the poster can get in there and put, "Hey, I was scammed by this business." The website itself doesn't do anything to verify the veracity of what is being posted as a.
Oh, you know what? When I got in business, I got hit by something like that. I had 5,000 clients, so they're not all going to be happy with you, right? But
they never are.
But some of them, boy, they make these accusations. They came out of left field someplace. You don't know what the heck they were thinking of, and you can't get it taken down. You can't do anything. The only thing you can do is answer it with the same veracity that they sent it out to you with.
Yeah. That's how this site is. And then like you say, your response to it is your rebuttal to whatever's put in there. And of course, normally the rebuttal comes in later down the page after everybody's read all the bad things you've done.
Yeah, and don't remember what you're actually referring to in the rebuttal.
Yeah, and then they do offer. They say one way to get off to get the thing removed, and it's through an arbitration process. But it costs you $2,500 just to initiate the arbitration process.
Yeah. Oh, man. You can't win for losing.
Yeah. It just that's a good way to make money. Hey, we'll post bad things. You can fight it, but pay us $2,500 for the privilege.
Well, yeah, but there wasn't that. Matter of fact, wasn't it you? Didn't you get scammed on a computer deal one time that some guy had sent you an email and said, click here to fix this or fix that? And when you did it, it shut down your entire computer, and the guy was holding you hostage. They wanted money in order to give you the key to unlock that thing?
Yeah, it was actually a client, but it was that ransomware software.
Yeah.
And just exactly what it did. It encrypts your whole hard drive, and if you want to decrypt it, you pay them in Bitcoin nonetheless.
Jeez.
So, that ended up being kind of a mess for that guy, and I found out at one.
Well, if it was a client of yours, I hope you put him in jail.
Well, he was the victim. It was the guys over in, I think, in Russia someplace.
Oh, he was the victim. I thought your law practice was the victim. So it was the client that was the problem.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we got had to deal with that. So, and then I found out as I talked to some IT people, and I've even heard the government's been hit by this ransomware.
Oh, you know what? You want to talk about computers that are not state of the art? We can talk about the government all day long.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it just sucks. Hey, listen, we got about 30 seconds before we have to say goodbye, and so why don't you give out some of your contact information?
Okay. We can be reached on the website at www.lawbbt.com. And our phone number is area code 909-945-5000.
Hey, David, you have a wonderful weekend. It's getting too cold to go fishing, by the way, but have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay happy, make everybody's life that you touch better for it, will you?
I will. And, Bob, you have a great weekend, too, and I'll talk with you next week.
Sounds great. Now, everybody, stay tuned. We're going to do the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teachings for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:40 p.m. Pacific time, currently 63 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 46 degrees. It has been beautiful out here. Well, you know what? It's time for the Harvard Business Tip of the Day. And the management tip today is use plans to focus yourself, not test yourself. Let me tell you about it. You know, planning out your week can help you navigate life gracefully, but over-planning your day-to-day tasks can make you neurotic and stressed. The best way to reap the benefits of daily and weekly planning is to take a more relaxed approach and to understand the role spontaneity should play in your plans. Now, here's how. First of all, be intentional, but be flexible. Decide in advance where you want to end up, but accept that your route may change along the way. And redefine a 100% score. For most people, a great day is when they accomplish 60 to 70% of their goals. Think about a perfect day as one where you made the best choices possible, not one where you finished everything. And then finally, don't think of your plans as a test. If your self-worth depends on how accurately you implement your plans, you're on shaky ground. Life is meant to be lived, not just done. So that's a big deal, right? Yeah. Well, we all know what day it is today, don't we? Sure we do. Today is Friday, December the 4th, and it's somebody's birthday. Oh boy, and we got some good ones today too. First off, this guy was born in 1949, actor and musician. His most notable films include The Last Picture Show, Starman, The Fabulous Baker Boys, Fearless, The Big Lebowski, and Iron Man. Happy birthday, Jeff Bridges. And here's a fellow born in 1969, hip-hop artist and businessman. He's one of the most financially successful hip-hop artists and entrepreneurs in America, having a net worth of over $150 million. Happy birthday, Jay-Z. And finally, wow. Born in 1973, media personality, actress, and former model. Success beyond your wildest expectations. Happy birthday, Tyra Banks. Well, what happened today in history? Well, I can tell you that on December the 4th, 1881, the first edition of the Los Angeles Times was published. That's right here in Southern California. Wow, how exciting that was. 1881. And in 1783, at a Frosses Tavern in New York City, U.S. General George Washington formally bids his officers farewell. And in 1971, the Montreux Casino in Switzerland is set ablaze by someone wielding a flare gun during a Frank Zappa concert. The incident would be noted in the Deep Purple song, Smoke on the Water. Yeah, well, you know what? Our quote for today comes from Agnes Repier, and she says, "We cannot really love anybody with whom we never laugh." Well, you know what? I think that's pretty much a fact. Well, let's talk about the secret daily teachings for your life. And you know what? This is all about a positive mental attitude. You've heard me talk about it all the time, and we're going to continue talking about it. You actually are in control of your life and your entire environment. Now, the lesson for today is it does not matter who you are or where you are. The law of attraction is forming your entire life experience, and this all-powerful law is doing that through your thoughts. You are the one who calls the law of attraction into action, and you do it through your thoughts. Yep, you make it happen. That's the important thing here. Well, it's time for those interesting but useless facts. So let's get right to it. Did you know onions are part of the lily family? Which one would you like to get your nose cuddled up to? Yeah, I suppose, right? Well, you know, in the movie Babe, the piglet was played by over 30 different piglets. They outgrew the part so quickly during the production of the film. They had to keep getting more and more and more. Well, you know, to find out if a watermelon is ripe, knock it. And if it sounds hollow, then it's ripe. Do your best. I've seen everything. I've seen people knock on them. I've seen them press the ends of them. I've seen them do all kinds of things. The truth is, it's a crapshoot. You just never know what you're going to get. Did you know the cosmos contains approximately 50 billion galaxies? Yeah, not stars, galaxies. Can you imagine 50 billion galaxies? And we're just in one galaxy with one solar system. Think about it. Isn't that amazing? Did you know an avocado is a fruit, not a vegetable? Did you care? Just tastes good, right? Guacamole, it's good stuff. You know, your brain comes out to play at night. Did you know that? You'd think that your brain is more active during the day when the rest of your body is, right? But it's not. Your brain is more active when you sleep. I suppose it's part of the recharging system that goes on there. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing at it. Did you know that the Bank of Italy was the original name of Bank of America? Give that some thought, right? Absolutely. Here's one for you. Did you know that an ear of corn always has an even number of rows because of the genetic formula which divides the cells? So I know some of you are going to go out there, you're going to buy an ear of corn, and you're going to count them just to make sure that there's an even number of rows. Now, if there isn't, it's because you made a mistake and you miscounted somewhere. That's what's going on. Here's another one for you. Ketchup was sold in the 1830s as medicine. Yeah, I said ketchup, but it's really ketchup. Yeah, you don't care about that either, right? But you know that pearls melt in vinegar? So be careful. If you got one of those fancy dancy jewelry cleaners, those sonic things, they tell you to put a little bit of vinegar in there. Don't put your pearls in there, or you'll be surprised when you come back and the pearls will be gone. How about this one? Did you know that Walmart generates $3 million of revenue every 7 minutes? $3 million every 7 minutes. Wow. Hey, you know what? Let me leave you with this. The youngest pope was 11 years old. Well, I hope they learned by that mistake. Now, anyway, don't go away. When we come back from this commercial break, we're going to answer your emails. First one comes from Mason Zafra from Roselle, Illinois. He's asking about home office deductions, and I'll answer that question for you right after these brief messages. Do not go away, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:52 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 63 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, we're coming down to the wire. Time for me to answer your emails. And I want to remind you that this is an entertainment section of the show. I do my best to give you a comprehensive answer to the questions that you're asking me, but sometimes the information you send me just a little bit sketchy. So we always encourage you to contact a licensed professional. They're always going to save you more money than they cost you, and they'll let you have peace of mind and let you sleep at night. Because one of the conditions of their licensing is that they have errors and omissions insurance. That's the same thing as malpractice insurance, just a different name. But it does mean if they make a mistake, they pay the piper and not you. Now that is worth something considering. Well, let's get right to these emails. The first one that I've got here is from Mason Zaffra from Roselle, Illinois, asking about a home office deductions. Says, if I convince my employer to let me work from home, will I be able to deduct a home office? Mason, I get this question a lot, actually. It's a promising idea, but home office deductions for employees are subject to some restrictions. Now, first, the office is deductible only as an employee business expense among your miscellaneous itemized deductions, the total of which is deductible only to the extent that it exceeds 2% of your adjusted gross income. Now, also, it's not enough for your employer to let you work at home. The law says that you must work at home for the convenience of your employer. This means that your employer must require you to work at home for its benefit. So here's a suggestion for you. Show your employer that it can save money by not providing an office for you, but rather to have it formally require you to work at home. Then you get that in a letter. You should be just fine. Well, next email comes from Morgan Agra from Westfield, Massachusetts, asking about joint savings and probate, and says, my mom wants to put her savings in a joint account with me so I can inherit them outside of probate. If we do this, will I owe tax on half the interest earned? All the money is hers. I won't spend any of it, and I'm in a much higher tax bracket than she is. Well, Morgan, if your mother provides all of the money in the joint account, the IRS will consider all of the money to be hers, and the interest on it will be taxable to her. Now, use your mother's name and Social Security number when setting up the account. They'll be used when issuing that 1099 form that reports interest earned on the account or in the account to the IRS. Now, the interest will be reported to her, and you'll have no problem at all. But take note here, if you withdraw any of the funds that your mother puts in that account, she'll be deemed to have made a gift of them to you at that time, and could be some gift tax issues going on, so you want to be careful. Next email comes from Bella Aguilar from Mishawaka, Indiana, asking about Social Security tax, and says, I just lost my job. Can I keep paying Social Security tax voluntarily while I'm unemployed to prevent my Social Security benefits from being reduced? Well, Bella, no, you can't do that. Moreover, your Social Security benefits are not based on the amount of taxes that you pay, but on the amount of your earnings, specifically your level of earnings in your 35 highest earning working years. So it is possible that your period of unemployment will not affect your future benefits at all. Now, to learn more about the Social Security benefits formula, get that free publication, Your Retirement Benefits, How It's Figured, in the publication section of the Social Security Administration website at www.ssa.gov, or just call them directly at 800-772-1213. Again, that's 800-772-1213. Well, my last email for today comes from Catherine Areza from Elrea, Ohio, asking about tuition deductions, and says, I'm a police officer. If I go to law school at night, can I deduct my tuition as a business expense since it helps me better apply the law? Well, Catherine, the answer to your question is no. Education generally is deductible if it improves your skills in your current line of work, but not if it qualifies you to enter a new profession. Now, obtaining a law degree qualifies one to practice a new profession as a lawyer. So the cost of obtaining such a degree generally is not deductible as a business expense. There are some exceptions to that, but there are tax breaks for education. Law school studies may qualify you to claim the lifetime learning credit, the tuition and fees deduction, student loan interest deduction, and other breaks like that. So you want to check with a licensed professional. They'll help you get through that. I've seen cases where that extra education is deductible. A lot of times, if your employer requires it, then it's going to be deductible for you, even if if there's a reasonable reason for it, even if it's not helping you in your current area. So just kind of keep those things in mind, and it comes down. But you've got to use some ingenuity, and you got to be true to yourself. If you went and got that education, it's because you're not happy in the career you're in, and you want to move along to something else. That's probably what the case is. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. We're also on 405 Media Radio Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. And we're on the Pundit Press, PNN Talk Radio, and SHR Media Radio with John Matthews and the Conservative Syndicate Mondays and Fridays from 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. Now, on my next show, John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and I simulcast on the Conservative Syndicate, and John Hanson will be here, that little old wine drinker. He'll be talking about food and wine. In the meantime, I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. And don't forget, get my app. You can get it at the Apple Store. You can get it at Google Play. Just search Robert Cardoza Live. It's free, and you can get to listen to our show live. You can even chat with me live while we're doing the show, or you can listen to my archive shows.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me on Monday for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Don't forget to get those apps out there. It's important to me. It's important to you. And they're absolutely free, and you'll love the way that they give you the flexibility of listening. In the meantime, I want you to stay happy. I want you to stay safe. I want you to make everybody's life that you touch better because of it. Have a wonderful weekend. Good night, everybody.